If you have ever looked at your bank account and thought, I know exactly how this happened, but I have no idea how to stop doing it, then this one's for you. Most of us aren't completely oblivious to our spending habits. We know we're overspending or buying pointless stuff. We just don't always catch it before it happens, or our brain convinces us that we need the thing. The new dress, the nicer car, the bigger house, the extra holidays. There's always this sense that the next purchase will complete you, will bring you ultimate happiness. Sometimes it's not even that we're getting into significant debt in order to buy this stuff that we don't really need. I was at one stage buying stuff that I really didn't need on a weekly basis, but I wasn't getting into credit card debt while I was doing it. That doesn't mean that this wasn't overspending though, because those habits were holding me back from reaching my financial goals. So in this video, I want to talk about why mindless spending happens, how small habits and identity get wrapped up in spending, and more importantly, how to shift it without making life boring or miserable in the process. So the first reason why you may struggle to stop mindless spending is that your spending equals your identity. In this scenario, you're not buying stuff, you're buying a version of yourself. We don't necessarily waste money because we're irrational. We can waste it because spending that money makes us feel like the person that we think we want to be. But when the stuff you buy doesn't fit into the life that you're actually living, it just ends up being wasteful. Let me give you some examples. Let's say you get hooked on the clean girl aesthetic trend on social media, which means you have to get the candles, the white ceramic mug, the aesthetic standy cup, skincare minis, and the quiet luxury wardrobe. Or maybe you decide that you'll start going to the gym, and so you immediately drop £250 on a brand new gym wardrobe and some trainers. But you never actually manage to make going to the gym habitual. You drop hundreds on beautiful stationery in order to start journaling, but you never actually get round to doing it. Because social media trends and aesthetics shift all of the time, and you're inevitably going to end up having to buy a lot of stuff in order to get involved with them, the more time that you spend living life in the online world as opposed to the real world, the more money you'll inevitably spend on this identity FOMO. Before you buy anything that isn't truly a need, try and ask yourself, would I still buy this if no one else saw it? You need to budget for your real self, not your fantasy self. What can really help with this is to try creating a fantasy spending list in the Notes app on your phone. Add things that have appealed to you there and their cost, and then review it after a couple of weeks. Viewing this with fresh eyes can help you to decide if this really matters to you or not. And it can also be a really eye-opening way of seeing just how many times you are being bombarded with impulse purchase temptation. And that can maybe help you make decisions about how long you're spending online, or whether or not to mute certain accounts on social media that are particularly encouraging you or tempting you to impulse buy. Next, you're not wasting money the way that you think. The leaks in your budget are not all the same. It can be really useful to identify the different types of drains on your budget. So you aren't cutting out everything you love, but you are reducing your spending and axing things that you don't need at all. It can be really useful to identify the differences between wasted spending and excess spending. Let me give you some examples. With wasted spending, you're spending money and getting nothing back in return for it at all. For example, late fees because you forgot to pay a bill, a subscription that you didn't cancel in time. You usually feel the regret instantly, it stings. But the good news is that wasted spending is usually really easy to spot and fix. It's the excess spending that can be a little bit trickier. Excess spending is where you're overpaying for a genuine need or a want that does really matter to you. This is one that we can all fall foul of, and I certainly have, because it feels justified. Some examples include getting a takeaway 4 times a week instead of learning some new, easy, quick recipes to cook, buying 3 different types of moisturiser when just the one would do, having a cleaner when you're struggling to pay rent, paying £85 a month for a gym that you never go to because exercise is important, grocery shopping without a plan and wasting half of it, or you tell yourself that you only live once, so you drop £250 on a new summer wardrobe even though you have summer clothes already hanging up at home. It's not dumb spending, it's just overdone. You're still getting some value, just way less than what you paid for. Wasted spending is obvious and painful. Excess spending is invisible and habitual. And that's the one that's quietly draining your bank account. Take a look at your spending from the last 1 to 2 months. If that feels like too much, just keep a diary for the next 7 days. Try to spot the areas where you spend a little more on essentials and non-essentials than you would ideally like. Then be completely brutal with the wasted spending and trim your excess spending. spending. Moving on now, add friction to spending and remove friction from saving. If it's too easy to spend, then it's too easy to waste. And if you don't make saving a priority and straightforward, it's too easy not to bother. The process of spending has never been easier thanks to digital wallets and one-click checkouts. But small barriers to this process can equal massive results. The more you can slow down your spending decisions, the less likely you'll be to go through with 99% of mindless spending. Here are some things you can do to add friction to your spending. Delete Apple Pay from your phone. It's at the lower end of the pain of payment scale, meaning that it's so easy to use, you barely even think about it. Compare it to cash, which is at the upper end of the scale because you're physically having to hand over the money. This is why a lot of people are switching back to cash budgeting now, because they can count out the exact amount of money that they've set aside for food that week, and then they've drawn a line under it. That's it. That's all they're going to be spending. And then they have to physically count out that money as they go. It's more visual and harder to overspend. Remove saved cards from apps and websites such as Amazon and Uber Eats. Anything that means you cannot just tap pay before thinking it through. Create a wish list in the Notes app on your phone and try and stick with a 2-week wait before you go through with any purchases. Don't forget to add the prices in that wish list as well, so you're very, very clear on how much your potential wants would cost you. Starting that list of all the stuff that you've seen in 1 month that you were tempted to buy may really, really shock you. This is actually a really valuable process. I've done it. And when you add up the amount that you could spend, I think 1 month I ended up seeing about £950 worth of just clothes that I was really, really tempted to buy. I think it can be a real eye-opener and just a bit of a jolt to stop you from doing it. Next, make it easier for yourself to save and try and turn it into a habit. If your current account contains money after all of your needs are covered, then you're probably seeing that cash as just available funds for you to spend however you like. But it's important to remove a set amount out of that for your savings goals. Otherwise, you're just going to spend that money. It's just going to be gone. If you have a set income, then decide on an affordable percentage that you can save every single month, and then set a direct debit that takes it out of your account right at the start of the month or whenever payday is for you. Another thing that can really help is if you're tempted to spend on something that you don't really need, is to transfer the value of that item over into your savings instead. This is a cool way of maybe gamifying your savings a bit. And there are quite a lot of cool apps out there now that will help you to gamify your savings in different ways. They'll have options such as roundups. They might have rainy day collections. Find a great savings account that works for you. For example, consider the number of times that you may need to withdraw from that account over the course of a year. But remember to mark it up as off limits for anything other than its sole purpose, such as a house deposit or your summer holiday and so on. Saving isn't about willpower, it's about design. Your willpower can be a limited resource. So instead, create systems that make it easy for you to save. If you're committed to saving a set amount every month, that in itself can have a positive impact on your mindless spending because you've made setting aside that money a habit. Next, make your environment less expensive. Your environment affects your money, both in the digital and physical spaces. So in order to change your digital space, unfollow influencers that tempt you to spend. Unsubscribe from the email lists of those companies that are spamming you with their new products and sales dates. Mute certain ads on Facebook. If you go into your advertising settings on Facebook, you can actually specify which brands you no longer want to see ads from. Delete shopping apps and bookmark shopping websites. In order to change your physical space, keep snacks in your bag. Bring your own coffee or drinks with you. Have a no spend day built into your week. This is a really great mental reset to remind you that so much of mindless spending is stuff that you won't miss once you cut it out. You could even try a whole no buy month in order to recalibrate the way that you spend. And finally, organize your home so that things are easy to find. This really helps you to love the stuff that you already have because they're easier to get hold of and you know exactly what you've got. Moving on now, create a checklist. Part of the reason that I used to overspend is that I didn't really place much value on the stuff that I was buying. That meant that I didn't really blink about buying something that was really similar to something I already had, or whether I was actually going to use it. I think a lot of that is down to this attitude of just how normal shopping as a pastime has become, and just the sheer volume of choice we have now as well. I think most people still think it odd to wear a different outfit every day like you see fashion influencers doing, but these days it doesn't seem that odd to replace your entire seasonal wardrobe once a new season arrives, and that can lead to a huge amount of overspending. So before I buy anything, I try asking myself these key questions. Will I use or wear this more than once? Preferably at least once a fortnight. Do I already have something like this? Am I going to love it when I own it? Or am I reacting to a trend? Am I spending to solve a problem that actually exists? Do I want this because I want it or because I feel like shopping right now? And where will I keep this? If your kitchen is already bulging at the seams with gadgets, is adding a pancake maker to that just going to pile on the problems for you? That leads us nicely onto this next one, which is to bin boredom. A big reason why I spent money was boredom or a perceived lack of anything else to do. Scrolling through the internet, looking at shopping websites is something that we do now without really thinking about it. Find other things to do with your time. Get a hobby that you will enjoy and pursue long term. Try not to cycle through loads of different hobbies, because that in itself can lead to spending a lot of money. One thing I've really tried to discipline myself to do is to not scroll while I'm watching TV. The more time you spend on your smartphone, the more you're going to be exposed to temptations to spend. It's just inevitable. If a TV show is good enough for me to invest an hour of my time, an hour of my day watching it, then at the very least I can do is to give it my full attention. Things that have helped me include reading more books, taking a lot more time outside, getting fresh air, just getting space from screens and the temptation to shop. And finally, be clear on your goals. What do you really want? Your life goals probably don't include copying that M&S clothing haul you just saw on an influencer's Instagram feed. Try to sit down and think about what you want your life to look like in 5, 10 and 20 years time. Where do you want to live? What kind of house do you want to live in? What job would you like to be in? When would you like to stop working? These are things that only happen when we plan how to achieve them financially. So it's important to be really clear on what it is that we want. And then we can hopefully use that clarity to avoid wasting money and instead channel it towards the things that we really genuinely want. Once you know what you want, I know that I want to be able to support my kids through university and also to help them once they're adults towards hopefully buying their first home. Now, this is a pretty big goal, but I'm clear that I want to try. So I'm setting aside money every single month in order to achieve that. I also want to stick with my current freelance work, but in order to facilitate that, I have to have an emergency fund. My income is up and then it's down and then down again and then hopefully up again. It's a bit of a roller coaster. If I'm gonna stick that work out while my kids are at school, then having that emergency fund is crucial. I cannot afford to just spend all of my money every single month. Some of it has to go towards the difficult months that kind of sneak up on me. I really hope you found this video useful and it gave you some ideas when it comes to tackling your own budgeting and spending habits. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button as well because it really, really helps out the channel.